So let me back up and give a little overview background of where we're at with all this LED stuff. So you've probably all seen, I did one video that started it all, really, to put LED lights, programmable LED lights on the house so that I could have all these different patterns and different colors and different times of the year. So I leave my lights up all the time, and I used a sketch that was done by Ben with Bruh Automation. I added some custom effects to it, just colors really. And then I've had it working with Home Assistant for a year and a half almost now. And I love it. It's been great. And a lot of people in the last few weeks, especially, of course, have really been asking about LEDs a lot. And so we started looking into other sketches and other ways to make that happen. And there's a lot of options. There's MIC lighting. We did a chat about MIC lighting a few days back. I can't remember now when that was. We've done, what else did we do? Oh, we looked at Tasmota, because Tasmota has the option to run some effects on programmable LEDs, and it's super, super easy and very controllable through Home Assistant. So those are important things. And then what started to happen was people who knew more about some of these big fancy Christmas displays, where you drive up to somebody's house and you tune in the radio and their candy canes are jumping and they've got big mega trees and their garage door is just a big pixel display and all that stuff. We've got some of those kinds of folks that can do those kinds of things that are part of our community here with Home Assistant and such. And so they started saying, oh, check out this, check out that. So in the last few streams, that's what we've been doing. So we did Vixen a couple days ago because we had Joel Force, and he knew a bit about Vixen and was excited to teach me about it, and I was excited to learn. So we did that, and then as we were doing that, there were more people saying, "Oh, check out X Lights, check out X Lights." And so we all know Rob from the Hookup, and Rob came on last night, and we did a bunch of the setup for X Lights. So now let me tell you about the hardware. So what we've got, the way this is happening, is you have your programmable LEDs. At the beginning of your programmable LEDs, you have a controller. So for me, and for probably most of us, that controller is going to be an ESP8266 based chip or based board. So it'll be a D1 Mini or a Node MCU for most of us. A lot of these guys, you can run this off of GPIO pins off of a Pi. I think you could probably run it directly off of a PC as well. I don't know how you would connect that exactly, but there are other kinds of controllers. You can connect it to an Arduino, like a Mega, or there's a thing called a Teensy. You can connect it to that. It's another sort of Wi-Fi based controller. ESP32, I don't think you can do yet, but there are several controllers. So you've got your strip of LEDs, then you've got your controller. Now, when you do these big fancy displays that have lights and thousands of LEDs, it doesn't all live on that little controller. It doesn't all live on the D1 Mini, on the 4 megabytes of memory you've got on that D1 Mini. To make those displays, you need to use a bigger software. And those softwares are Vixen or X Lights. And X Lights is, I can open my X Lights up right here. This is X Lights. And we did a lot of the setup last night. So if you want to see, kind of how we got to this point, you can check that out at your leisure. But essentially what X Lights does is you tell it, what your controllers are and how many LEDs and some of those things and where they are in your house. You can lay it out on your house. And then you just start with a time. You can see this is a music track here, and I can't play it because YouTube will get mad at me again. They got mad at me last night. We played, what was it, 30 seconds at the most of Let It Go from Frozen. And man, in less than an hour after the stream, I already had an email from YouTube saying, hey, bud, you used some copyright material. So we're going to take all the whatever revenue you make from your video and we're going to give it to Disney because they need more. So, okay, fine, whatever. So anyways, I'm not going to play this probably just now. But yeah, it was fun. You should check it out. And it was fun. We had a good time and we got it working. So, but there's one more bit of hardware now that we need to include to make it easy to integrate into, I shouldn't say easy, but to make it so we can integrate it into Home Assistant. And what that is a Raspberry Pi running something called Falcon Player. And I'm just barely learning about this. we tried it last night. I couldn't get it to work. Me and Mark worked on it this morning, and we did make some progress, so that's good. But thank you, Andres, for the subscribe. So what happens now is you create they call them sequences. You create your sequence in Xlights, and then you import your sequence from Xlights into this Falcon player, which is running on a Raspberry Pi. The Falcon player then can hold all this stuff, and you don't have to have Xlights open. You don't have to sit here and push play, to get it to happen. It's running on this Falcon player, and then through MQTT, you can tell the Falcon player to send the correct sequence to your controllers, so that the correct lighting show will happen when you want it to, based on what you put into Home Assistant. So that's where we're going. We're not 100% there yet. We're pretty close, but that's where we're going. Let me get to the business part of this. Now, in order to get your D1 Mini or your Node MCU to run sequences, shows from Xlights, your D1 Mini or your Node MCU needs to run a software that will interact, that kind of creates the bridge, creates the connection between Xlights and Falcon Player and your lights. And the easy way to do that, come to find out, is ESPixelstick. Okay, so we're going to open up an ESPixel so you can see this, where the website is. And it actually is a pretty simple loader. I was very happy with it once we finally got it working. So you don't have to buy. So this fella, and you can if you want to make it easier for yourself, this fella, Fork in Eye, he makes these boards. And this board has some connections for lights. It has a fuse. I can't remember what other things it has in there. I think it's got a power converter of some kind, and then it's got the Wi-Fi module. So this makes it a little bit easier, and I don't know what they cost. I'm sure they're not too bad, but you can just go to GitHub and grab the sketch and put it on any ESP8266 that you. We're gonna go here. We're gonna go to releases, and then you grab the latest zip file right here on top. This was the mistake I made. Do not put this on your, don't put this on your desktop. That seemed to be the problem yesterday, was I put it on my desktop. So don't do that. So we're going to reflash this one right now as the example. So I've got here my D1 Mini. Okay. I'm not going to re-download it because I already have it right here. So you download it, you extract it, and then you plug in your D1 Mini to your computer. Now this part's tricky. This part is tricky. You actually have to put the D1 Mini into a programming mode. And I didn't know such a thing existed. So I was saying the D1 Mini. So if you have a Node MCU board like this, if you have a Node MCU, the Node MCU has buttons on it, and it has two buttons. One of them says reset, and one of them says flash. Actually, do the new ones have that too? Yeah, this is an older version, but the newer ones have the same buttons. So in this case, for ESPixelstick, you actually have to put the board into flash mode. Most of the time when we're loading Tasmota and we're doing just an Arduino sketch, we don't have to do anything to these development boards, the Node MCU and the D1 Mini, in order to load a new sketch on them. You just, tell the IDE, Arduino IDE, to load it up, or fast easy or flash easy, whatever, and it just loads. But in this particular case, for some reason, you have to put it into programming mode. So we're going to have to do that. Let me get to the folder where I put it. It's right here, ESPixelstick. Now, this file that you're going to need, so once you extract this, you're going to have this ESP flashtool.jar. So one of the things that I was missing last night that caused us a little bit of grief was I didn't have Java installed. So apparently you have to have Java to run this. It's a .jar file, and I didn't have it. And oh, good, she works there. Excellent. So we had to install that, and then that caused some problems. Those were some things not done live that we decided to do live. Okay, now if I recall, GPIO 0 is D3 on the D1 Mini. So I've got right now just a jumper wire going between GPIO 0, which is D3, and ground. Okay. I've got my USB, the other end of my USB cord is plugged into the computer. So now I'm going to just start this ESPFlashTool.jar. Just going to click it. Cross our fingers. It is super tiny, and there's no way that I can make it any bigger. I'm very, very sorry. I mean, I could make it bigger, but it would take a long time. Okay, so I'm going to give this thing a host name. We're just going to call it Pixel. Actually, I'll just leave it. It's fine. We'll just leave it, and because it fills in a random name. Okay. On this firmware, so you put in your Wi-Fi SSID, your Wi-Fi password. You can give it a name. This is the name that will show up in your router after this thing connects to your network. And so you can give it a custom name if you want, or it will give it a random name that says something about ESPixelstick. Device ID, you can probably change that if you want to. I just leave it. And then down here, what you want to select is the one that says Pixel WS2811 GECE with dev Travis CI or CL build. Okay, that's what you want in this. I know you can't see that, but that's what it says. And then once you get it plugged in, you'll be able to select the COM port. So here we go. We're grounded. GPIO 0 is grounded. We're going to plug this guy in. Okay, we got a little flash of blue. Now that it's plugged in, I can remove this jumper. I don't have to keep that jumper in there. Just needed that for power up. So we'll take that out. So now we've got the COM 6. So now we're going to hit upload. And if things are going well, we should get some crazy flashing. We got one flash. There we go. Okay. See that? You like the sound effects? So here we go. We've got it done now. It's got us down here, and it says, oh, goodness me. I can't read this. It's horrible. It's so small. Configuration loaded, and it gives me the IP address right here. That's important. We're going to need that IP address, okay? So it gives you the IP address down here, and we're done. We're done. So this essentially is, I guess it's set up as one universe. And universes, we talked about that a little bit last night with Rob. It's the X-Lights terminology essentially for 170 LEDs. That's my interpretation of it. It's probably not completely correct, but whatever. Okay, so that's done now. That is done. We can turn this off. And then let's do, the next thing let's do, since we're already so running low on time. This is too much fun. I just get to talking. I'm having fun just chatting with you guys. So, well, let's do now the setup for the Falcon player. So now we could, if we were doing X-Lights, we go into X-Lights, and if I have this thing hooked up to my X-Lights, D4. So when you're using ESPixelstick, D4 is the data line you connect to. And then we're going to connect ground here. And then I'm going to get my, why did I put my 5-volt jumper over here? So here is, I should use the microscope, huh? So here's the hardware that I have as I have it set up. Ignore this Node MCU. That's just stuck to the breadboard because I was using it for something else. But essentially I've got, this is connected to a string of 2812, WS2812 LEDs. There's 150 LEDs on that string. These are the 3-wire kind. So we've got a red that is the 5 volts. These are 5-volt LEDs, which is nice in this case because I don't have to have an extra power supply to provide 12 volts. White is ground, and green is actually the data. And regardless of the colors, I've seen a lot of these different pixel strips, and they're always different. They're always different colors, it seems like, in these wires. So in this particular case, red is 5 volts, white is ground, and green is data. And they're usually in the same order. So it's data in the middle, and then red and white. Okay, and then I've just got it connected to the breadboard here, and the data line goes, you can't see it, but the data line goes to D4 when you're using ESPixelstick, and then I just connect the 5-volt and the ground to the D1 Mini in its appropriate place. Just rest that camera over there, turn that off. Am I using a level converter in the data line? I am not. In this particular setup, it's not necessary. So we learned some things. I don't remember who it was that was telling me. In all of my setups, I've never had to use a level shifter. I've had some. I bought them and I played with them, but I didn't have to use them. I never had a problem. And I think what somebody said, the reason was once you get to the first pixel, from that point on, every time the data hits a pixel, the data wire hits a pixel, it gets a little bit of a logic level shift. So, you know, if it gets to the first pixel, and as long as and then the voltage, the 5-volt wire adds a little bit of voltage, so that the next time, so from that pixel to the next pixel, it's a full strength data signal. That's why you can let these things run, and they can go forever and ever, very, very, very far. And you'll need to boost your voltage potentially along the way to the voltage line, the straight voltage line, but you don't need to boost the data line, because the reason that the voltage drops so fast is because each pixel takes a little bit to boost the voltage. So you need the logic level shifter if the distance between your controller and your first pixel is very far, because that's the place where there's no boost. And so if you're, you know, it's coming out of the D1 Mini at 3 volts max, and if it's not high enough still when it gets to the first pixel, it's just going to be a mess down the string. So there you go. And it is because 12 volts maybe with the 12 volt lights should be doing that. Okay. All right. So we're going to do the Falcon player real quick. We're going to set up the Falcon player. We're not going to be able to get too far into it, and that's okay because I don't honestly understand a ton of it, but we are going to get it installed. Where is it? There we go. Okay. Falcon player. So this is what you will run on a Raspberry Pi, and it will create a way to control your controllers that isn't the X-Lite software running on your PC. So you don't have to sit down at your PC and click play for the sequence to play. You're gonna set it up so that the Falcon player tells each controller what to do. Okay, so here is the page that you need to get Falcon player for Pi. So this will give you what you need to run it on a Raspberry Pi. So right now the latest version is 2.5.3. So you just grab, which file did I grab? I think I grabbed this one right here. So just grab this thing, you download it. You can see it. This is telling me it's 1 because I've already got it in here somewhere. Okay, so once you've got that, you're going to need an SD card. My Pi is already running. No reason not to just, well, you don't want to see that process again. So, yeah, you start Etcher. Okay, you start Etcher. It took a while to do the etching part, right? To put it on the disk. So I won't do that part with you live. Okay. I don't know why I keep getting this. This popped up today for the first time ever, but okay. So select image. This is just Etcher. You guys have all done this probably. You select that zip file that you just grabbed. And then you select your drive. Now your drive is going to be your SD card. So plug in an SD card. They say you need at least, I think they said at least 4 gigabytes, which is nothing. So, you know, I have a 32. That's what I used. I grabbed that. Once it's here, you just hit flash, and then it takes probably about 15-20 minutes, and then it will be ready to go. Once you get the Etcher done and you put it on the SD card and you put it in the Pi, and you connect the Pi to the internet, or to connect the Pi to your network with an Ethernet cable, put the SD card in, and then power up the Pi. It'll take a few minutes. Once we give the Pi a few minutes to fire up, we go to, what was that? ffp.local. So http://fpp.local. And that's where you'll go. And when you go there, you'll get this. If your Pi is connected to the internet, and if your SD card and all that stuff worked, you'll get this. All right, so once we get into Falcon Player, there's a lot of setup here that I don't know exactly how to do. Mark and I kind of monkeyed around with it. We didn't have anybody, Rob knows how to do it. There's probably some of you guys here that know how to do it. but we didn't know exactly how to do all of it. But we'll go through the parts that we did figure out, okay? Calculon. All right. What was I going to ask? Oh, I'll say this. Thanks for being here, brother. Appreciate it. Okay. So this is the main page. What you're looking at right here is the status page. All right. What we found worked was, what did we have it set as? Mark Master, I think, right? We had it set as Master. Okay. So there's a lot of setups in here. One thing that we did was we went to, was it File Manager? And then we uploaded the sequence. Oh yeah, we had to go to, in Xlights, we had our sequence, okay? And this was our sequence, and we saved it, and we had to export it. Anyways, in Falcon Player, you need to set up channel outputs. And your channel output is going to be, if I can get my fat head out of the way, your channel output is your pixel stick. And you will potentially have multiple pixel sticks, right? You'll have several of these controllers because you're going to have one that's going to a big mega tree in the middle of the yard. You're going to have one that's up on the roof. You may have a couple that are up on the roof. So you may have different of these pixel sticks in different places. Each of these pixel sticks, once you get the ESPixelstick software on there, will give you your IP address, just like we saw earlier, and you'll put that IP address right here. And then there's some settings here that I don't know exactly, like whether it's multicast, unicast. I know Rob was saying multicast is the way to go. I don't know the details or understand it exactly, but Mark and I got it to work to some extent. We had some effects, and it was playing music, but it wasn't perfect. But anyways, this is under outputs, channel outputs. And then we did upload some stuff. I can't remember where we did it from. I didn't think we did it from File Manager. Maybe we did it from Playlist. But anyways, you have to convert your sequence here. If I open a sequence, this is already my Elsa sequence, right? But anyways, I'm going to have to start cutting it off. But there was a way we did it, and Mark and I did it, and we'll figure it out for you. I want to also tell you, the last thing I wanted to tell you, yes. I will leave you with the means for getting a lot of help from guys who know a lot better than I do. If you go to xlights.org, there's a spot right here that says Zoom meeting. See that? If you click that, this was Paul found this for us last night. It will make you download a software called Zoom, or a plugin called Zoom. So that's fine. So you open Zoom meeting, and what you've got is a live connection with, I'm going to join, and hopefully it won't disrupt too much of other people's things. But right now, I'm whispering like I can avoid it. But right now there are 7 people, including myself, that have just joined this chat. And this chat is with, these guys are pros. These guys know what they're doing. This Mike Purser guy, if you look at a lot of the stuff, he's done a lot of things. So you can chat with them live right now. They said what Paul was saying. He got in there and chatted with these fellas last night. You can go in there, and this time of year, there are always people in there in this chat room live 24/7, because people are all over the world. And so you can go in there and ask some questions, try and get some help, And so what a resource, what an amazing resource. So I wanted to leave you with that. I'll leave the meeting, and then I'll show you this. This is the MQTT topics list. So once we finish the connection, and we're pretty close, but once we finish the connection between Xlights and our Falcon Player Pi and our controllers, we will be able to use this, we'll be able to use this list, and probably specifically this exact MQTT topic in Home Assistant to say, Home Assistant, when I push this button, or when I tell she who shall not be named, or at 10 p.m. on January 1st, play this effect, play this sequence on my lights outside. This is the key. This is how we link Home Assistant to the Falcon Player, to the controller outside to the lights with MQTT. So awesome. I'm sorry to rush. I had a good time. I'm excited to go see my little girl get out of kindergarten and take her to, I like to take her to the gas station and get her a Slurpee and a sucker or something. So I'm going to go do that. Any last questions? Anything else I can answer for you? Hopefully that wasn't too fast, and hopefully there was some useful stuff there. I know it's incomplete, but there's good stuff there, and we will get more information, and we'll know more, and we'll learn more together. Sound good? All right, fellas, thanks a bunch for being here. I so appreciate it. I had a chat with Mark after the stream last night, and I'm just so happy to have a community like this that is just supportive and helpful and friendly and fun, positive. So keep it up. I appreciate it. So that's all for now. As always, thanks for watching. Until Saturday morning, adios.